Hey everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. And I'm super excited because you know what my favorite day is, and it is Stats Day. So I don't have Jody in the background today to give us a little rousing applause, so you're just stuck with me. So anyway, it's my favorite day, it's Stats Day. And this is our third month in a row that we've been doing the watch of the market shift metrics. So this will be our third one. So if you didn't see April and May's results, go ahead and take a look at those. It'll give you a good trend. And just a reminder that all of the information we're going to talk about is courtesy of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors through June 30th, 2022. So without further ado, let's get going. One of the things that occurred to me is I think it's actually a really good time for us to talk a little bit about lead versus lag metrics. And if you're not familiar with what that is, what the difference is our lag metrics are the things that tell us trends from what has already happened. So that's things like median sold price, the days on market for stuff that has sold. Those things have already occurred and they're good for trends. However, it already happened. So once we find out about it, it's too late. So what we also want to make sure that we're carrying through our logic and our understanding is our lead metrics. And our lead metrics are looking at things that are predicting and are predictive of where we're going. So I'm going to tweak what we talk about a little bit today and kind of point out what might be a lead versus a lag metric and talk about the differences between those two. So same categories as always. So let's start with days on market. So this is for sold single family residential properties in the Outer Banks, MLS. Year to date, our average days on market for sold properties is 35 days. Okay, so that's year to date. And that is down about 42% from year to date 2021. Okay, so that's a lag metric because that's sold. So that's what's already happened. If we look at the trending, May to June stayed at 23 days. Okay, so we've got some stability in that. So if we look at the lag metric, we would say, okay, we're stable and still down to last year. What I want to talk about is the lead metric version of this. And the lead metric takes a look at our actives. Okay, so if we look at our average days on market for our current active inventory, it's now 66. Okay, last month it was 57. It's bumping up. So that is a lead metric showing us days on market is increasing. That is showing us a shift. Stuff's sitting a little bit longer. And that's a 16% increase if you do that math. I also wanted to take a look at under contract. So I looked at all the properties that are currently under contract, and the average days on market for those is 31. So again, a lead metric, because if we look at the sold days on market being 23, 31 for under contract, and 66 for active. Okay, so that's definitely trending up. So if we just looked at the lag, we'd say, hey, we're stable. But when we look at the lag and the lead, we know we're trending up. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about inventory levels, and this is for all residential, okay? So year over year, our inventory is still down by 11% overall, okay? However, when we wanna look at the lead version of that, we really wanna be looking at what is happening with new listings and active inventory. So new listings are actually up by 11% June over June. So year over year, June last year to June this year, up 11%. Okay, so that's an interesting metric for us to watch. An active residential inventory, June 2022 over June 2021, is actually up a whopping 25%. So our inventory on the market this June over last June is up 25%. So that's a pretty big lead metric when we look at what's active on the market. Overall, our year-to-date active inventory is still down, but only by 3%. So we are chipping away at that. So our lead metric on days on market is trending longer. Our lead metric on inventory is trending up. Okay, so that's really important to watch those two metrics. So those definitely point us towards a shift. Third thing that we look at is our price adjustments. So we're looking at how many properties have had a price adjustment before they sold. That's a lag metric. So if we look at that metric, we look at 2021, it was 4% of those, sorry, it was 20% of those had a price reduction before they sold. Year to date, we're at 18%. Okay, so that's trending, the lag metric's trending down. And monthly, we started the year at 27% had a price reduction, and it whittled down to a low in May of only 11% of properties had a price reduction before they sold. In June, that's up to 19%. Okay, so again, that's a lag because it's looking at sold. So if we look at the lead version of this and we look at under contracts and active properties, how many of those have had a price reduction already? And remember, they haven't sold yet, but they've had a price reduction, 32%. So 32% of those properties have had a price reduction. So lag metrics telling us 19% in June, but our lead metrics showing us 32%. So we're seeing more price reductions for sure before things sell. Final thing that we look at is median sale price. So June's median sale price for the Outer Banks MLS was $581,000, and that's up about 3%. So that's an interesting thing to note. I also wanted to take a look at the trending of whether things were selling over ask, because I thought that might be an interesting thing for us to look at. So in January, it started about 3.6% of properties were selling over ask. It peaked at 7.9% in March, and then it started to come down since then, and June was 5.8. Okay, so less properties are selling over ask. So I guess what I wanted you to take away from today's discussion is the shift continues. We're now really seeing the signs of that shift, especially when we focus on the lead metrics versus the lag metrics. Both are important, but when we focus on the lead, we see where we're going. All indications, I will say though, are still telling us that we're not expecting a huge change in prices. So we do expect that we'll have a more stable environment, that there'll probably be a little more level playing field between buyers and sellers. Maybe we'll be into that situation again where we are negotiating some repairs and things like that were kind of off the table before, but no real changes in price. So it's still a great time to be a buyer, and it's still a great time to be a seller. So if you want to talk further about this or anything stats, you know I love it. Just reach out to us. We'd love to help. Also remember, go ahead and click the link below and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you never miss an update. Thanks again for listening and indulging my statistics, and we'll see you soon.